to the RunRX podcast, where we talk about all things running. As many runners know, it's 90% mental. So join Coach Valerie and Coach Caroline as we go through the mental side of running.
Welcome back to the RunRX podcast. I'm your host, Coach Caroline, and I'm here with Coach Valerie. And Coach, we have open right now registration for our latest virtual clinic. If you guys go to our website and you click the button right there, it'll say join the virtual clinic. You can join us. And what I wanted to talk about is this idea that people they get injured or they're feeling pain, and they do one of two things. They either keep just trying to hustle through the pain, right? Or they stop doing anything altogether and they sit on the couch and they put their foot in a boot or they do whatever. It's either all or nothing. And at the end of the day, it's not fixing the error in their movement. Is that correct? And how could you, if they come into the virtual clinic, how can they possibly get a correction in their movement while being injured?
So that's a great question. And most people honestly don't come to us unless they're injured. So
right.
Really and this is an important thing. And by the way, you're right. So usually when people are injured, we just wake up and the next morning and go, please be gone, please be gone. And then we go out for a run. I mean, it's true. I've been there. And then, or like you said, and I don't want to say, either like, cause we get a lot of people that have quit running. So you're right. We hear this, like, I had to stop running. And then people will say, I had to stop running because of my knees. I had to stop running because I kept getting injured. And the challenge then we say, well, what were you doing? I've tried everything. So I've heard this a lot. I've tried everything. Yeah. So usually the next step is they're going to try shoes, or they're going to try even going to PT, chiro stretching, a lot of self-care. So what we want to, goes in with the stretching. And the challenge then becomes, for us anyway, or for me, it's like, wow, this is actually the best time for you to come to RunRX. And I know that sounds crazy because you're like, well, wait a minute, isn't it a running clinic? Yes. And the best part is you're going to learn actually how to run and the movement around running and simple corrections you can make while not running that will help you with your run. It's fantastic. And the best part is you can practice still. Like ideally we want you to actually not run at all and let us work with you on the movement of running. And so not to scare away people that are not injured, don't worry, you can move.
Right.
But what I want to say, what really happens when people have to actually step back from their running because of their injury, when you're going to be more open to letting yourself practice without that feeling of, I've got to go for a run. And you'll actually find we've had people come through that either have used walking with the practice and done very well, or they can't walk yet. So they're just doing basically the standing practice and of course the strength practice and the self-care. Because to think about it, if you keep stretching that same area or trying to strengthen that same area that's injured, yet you keep getting injured, you have to start to realize I'm missing part of what I need to get better for running.
Yeah. That's really important, because I think people think, well, I'm injured, so I shouldn't do anything, or I have to stop and wait till I'm better. And we've said this before, guys. It's like saying I have to be in shape before I start going to the gym. That defeats the point. No, you start going to the gym, you do a little bit at a time, and you build up your strength and get in shape while working out at the gym. And that's really what this virtual clinic, if you are injured, you can start to learn what is the error in my movement that I'm doing and how to correct it. And then over time, you get better with it. Is that right? Am I describing it correctly?
Right. But even not just right, 100%. And what's great, guys, is if we think about it, one of the things we teach is how to hold your body, because running is about your posture, really. So working on that. Nobody wants to work on that. It's not fun, right? That's always what people say to me. They want to work on body parts. I want to work on my core. I want to work on my this. I want to work on my glutes or, something. And I'm like, you need to work on how you hold your body upright.
Well, what's funny is they don't say I want to work on my core. They say I want, 6-pack abs.
Yeah, I haven't heard that in a long time. But the challenge to me is like most people think core is abs.
Right.
It's not. Like core is actually the whole hip and trunk. Here's what's really fun, guys, though. I promise that the whole movement isn't just standing still in place. Like we have movement practice. And I think that's what the challenge, the hard part in running is we just want to go running. We're impatient. We want to go running. We want it to be fixed. We want to go.
Yeah.
And so taking a little bit of time for yourself to go through this clinic and really get better on your movement is how you'll be able to get up and go forever. And I say that with full certainty because I've been doing this for now close to 30 years and I get up and go. And so, we see people able to move so much better just by starting to think about their movement differently. And the best way to do that is to kind of take a break from a repeated movement that you've obviously been doing for a while and maybe is not working out so well.
Talk about that for a second too, because a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to do anything. And honestly, that actually can be worse because you're actually your body becomes a little stagnant and a little stiff, right? So actually doing something is going to help them in the long run, correct? It's going to help them.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
And so talk about that for a little bit.
Well, it's funny. Like if you go to the hospital today and have back surgery or knee replacement surgery, which both of my in-laws have had, and actually our own coach, Linda, had an ACL surgery from she fell during a Spartan race, jumped off a balance beam. Every single one of them, literally that same day, were already moving. They literally put you like on a bicycle and have you start movement. There's really movement therapy is how you recover from anything. So we have to remember that your body needs to move. The more that you move it correctly, it doesn't have to be high impact. Doesn't have to be running movement. And it's the continuing correct movement. And I tell people this a lot. It's really interesting, but that correct movement pattern is what actually brings about correct movement. And that's what prevents the injuries, and that's
because it's about getting the blood and getting the circulation and getting fresh flowing of I'm saying blood, but that's really what it is, blood and plasma.
And that is important. But the reality is that more than that is when you do a correct movement pattern, you're putting all of the soft tissue in the right place and the tendons and the ligaments. You're putting your body in the right position. Guys, this is what's so important. How do we get injured? We get injured because we got out of our position. You messed up somewhere, right? And so that's the important thing is you didn't know what, it's not that, unless, and I always say this, if you fall off with something and you hurt yourself, that's a whole different falling off than what we're talking about. I'm talking about like a repetitive movement injury that you keep getting from running. There's something going on in your movement pattern that's causing the injury. And all we do is help you reconnect with your own movement, not worrying about what's wrong, only worry about what to do and how to do it right. And that's what corrects the overall movement.
That's really powerful. So with this virtual clinic, it's 3 days. You're going to talk us through like what's killing our run, one thing we can do to like change it today, right? And then how to incorporate it into our overall our training, right? I mean, you're going to help me figure out like if I have shin splints, if I have knee pain, if my hips, oh my God, my hips get so sore after I run. Or for me, it used to be my lower back. That was my thing. So you're going to be able to tell me what I'm doing in my run that's causing that lower back pain. And then you're going to be able to give me a way to correct it. And then how we can incorporate that long term. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, if you want to learn this, if this is making you go, I want to learn that, check out our website, go to RunRX.fit. There's a big green button that'll say join the virtual clinic. We want to see you in the virtual clinic. It's going to open up, the Facebook page will open up October 8th, and our first training is October 9th, and we hope to see you there. Thanks, guys.
Thank thank you for joining us on the RunRX podcast. If you'd like to know more, join us at www.RunRX.fit. And if you have additional questions that you'd like answered on the podcast, email us at support@runrx.fit.